Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome back to the Bookroom Comedy Club. We're here in the Book Nook, and as she was going down really, really well last time, we made the silly mistake of asking her back. So prepare yourselves to get topical. It's the Monkey of Mayhem, the cupboard of comedy. That's right, put your hands together. It's Zoe Kirk-Robinson, aka the Cupboard Monkey. Woo-hoo-hoo! Hi to you. Yes, come on now, knock 'em dead.
Well, not literally, I hope, otherwise we won't have an audience. Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Bookroom Comedy Club. I'm Zoe Kirk-Robinson, and I hope you're all having a great time. Now, last time I was here, the world was a little bit different, wasn't it? And Jen, can we just have a quick check to make sure the microphones are working? I hope they are. They are working. So we've got a bit we've gone a bit more high tech. We've put a cover on the microphone so that you won't be hearing pops and clicks as much. But the world has changed since I was last here, and not entirely for the better, not entirely for the worse. For a start, the UK Prime Minister has decided that we're all going back into lockdown again. Lockdown, because last time we all came together as a nation and we defeated the enemy virus, and we all showed that as a nation we can follow instructions, and we do it to the letter. Didn't happen now, did it? So, lockdown 2. After all of the chaos and economic turmoil, we're going to have another go. And I tell you what, guys, I'm not sure about it. I think something's going to give, and it's probably going to be my waistline. I don't know how much more of this my trousers can take. They're all tight already. But, speaking of that, I don't know if I can do it. I really, really don't. A second lockdown? I don't know how I can cope. Can I sit on my backside watching TV and eating crisps again? It's sometimes a generation has asked too much. But it is a weird situation because we have people who are absolutely against it and they're just not going to do anything. So is it just that we are, as a species, not able... Did you hear that, Jen? We've just had a bang outside. I hope we haven't got hecklers trying to get in. Sorry about this. We're going to quickly check. Okay. Jen's going to have a look. So I'm going to try and continue, but that was a bit unnerving. I'm hoping that it was just something inside falling over, but when it comes to hecklers, we know how to do it, don't we? That has shocked me. I can deal with hecklers, but burglars, that's a bit different. But let's think, going back to lockdown, there's some people who just don't like it. It's like, when they're told to do something, they can't cope. Is that just human spirit? Because I realize that most people don't like it when they're told to do something. And they're willing to do things until they're told that they have to. It's one of those things. So that really did knock me off. My goodness, I'm worried for her now. Oof. I know that my comedy's quite appealing when there's nothing else going on, but people shouldn't be trying to break into my house to get to see it. It's streamed for free. So let's take me, for example, as an example of what I was talking about with human nature. We are built to rebel. Basically, we think that we're adults, but the fact is, we never grew out of our rebellious teenage phase. We just don't live with our parents anymore, so we don't know that we don't like being told to do things anymore. That's how it is. That's how it is. But take me, for example, and not just because literally I have no one else to take advantage of here because Jen has left and the government has said that no one else can come in. But we'll take me as an example. I love Star Trek. Absolutely love it. I adore Star Trek. I could watch episodes of Star Trek all day, be perfectly happy. But the moment someone tells me I have to watch Star Trek, all of a sudden the appeal of sitting there eating crisps and probably putting the subtitles on so I can hear what's going on over the munching, that all goes away. Because when someone says, you must do this, it's a bit in the back of my head. It's just a tiny nagging feeling. It's gone, you know what? I'm not so sure about this. Is all of creation worth it? As an experiment, this whole world and life thing, do you think? Is it really that important? Because I kind of want to watch the news instead. We are psychologically built to rebel. It's just how it is. The moment, and don't look at me funny, I can tell you right now, you have had these thoughts as well. We've all had them. The moment we're told to do something, we don't want to do it anymore. It doesn't matter what it is. Like, I think I'll have a cup of tea. That is a great idea. I demand that you have a cup of tea. Well, now I'm not going to. I will have coffee instead. What do you think of that? Everyone does it. I don't care who you are, where you came from. That's what you're like. We are, as a species, built to rebel. That's why there's an entire universe out there, and we've hardly looked at or explored any of it. We send robots to do our exploring now, and you know why? It's not because it's cheaper, it's because when we tell them to do something, they actually do it. Jen, what was happening outside?
I think it was next door putting their recycling in the recycling bin, but it did sound quite loud.
Sounded like a burglar to me. I honestly thought we were going to get broken into live on the stream. That would have boosted our ratings, I'll tell you that. Far better than my silly jokes would. But guys, I want to say something before I go on. Leave questions and statements in the chat. That's perfectly fine, because at the end of this, we'd like to do a Q&A. You know, ask me anything. I'll see what I can do and make it funny as an answer. But let's leave lockdown and teenage rebellions aside for a moment. Because the other thing that happened, and I'm not sure you know about this because it hasn't really been in the news all that much, but the other thing that happened was an American presidential election. I know it easily passed you by. It's one of those things. So I decided that I was going to watch this as it happened live. Stayed up all night to make sure that I got the information, because I'm that kind of nerd. And some of my friends did as well, because, you know, that's the kind of crowd I go with. So we settled in for a Zoom chat. We all jumped in the Zoom chat, and we laughed and joked and shared our theories about what was going to happen, and waited for the results to come in. And waited. And waited. How long was that election? So we got in to about 1 o'clock in the morning. We were laughing and joking and watching the first of the ballots start to get counted. And going, oh, well, it looks quite interesting though so far. Has anything changed? No. So at 1 o'clock in the morning, we had a decision to make. We've got 3 hours in. By this point, our sleep schedules are messed up. We're all getting on a bit. So, do we decide to call it quits and just say, right, I'm out, I'm going to bed, I'm going to get as much sleep as I possibly can? Or do we go all in? And to hell with the problems that we'll have in the morning, because I'm 40-year-old. I know that if I pull an all-nighter, I'm paying for it the next day. So, this is quite a gamble. Do we go all in, or do we fold? My friends folded. They decided they were going to cut their losses, they were going to get as much sleep as they possibly could, and then they were going to just get on. Jennifer is behind the camera, pulling faces at me. So if I start laughing in opportune moments, it's not because I'm laughing at my own jokes, it's because my wife is trying to make me giggle. And it's succeeding. Well done, Jennifer. You are horrible. I'm going to get my own back tomorrow on your stream. My friends, they decided that they were going to cut their losses. They were going to try and get as much sleep as they could, and then try and get to work without being a zombie the next day. I went all in. I thought, no, I've got this far. I want to see what happens. I've put this much investment in. I need the results, damn it. So I stayed up, and I watched the news as it came in. I watched the American news and the British news, checked my newspapers. I even went onto Twitter to see whether anyone had any vague information about the ballots and what was going on. I needed information. So I watched, and I waited, and I waited, and I waited some more. And at 5 o'clock in the morning, when no information had come in for ages and none of the states had declared for 3 hours, I fell asleep at my desk, and when my head hit the keyboard and I woke up, I decided this is a young person's game, and I had to call it quits. I had to go to bed. So I thought, it's alright, I've got this far. When I get up in a few hours' time, the results will be in, it'll be fine. So I went to bed. And when I got up, the result hadn't changed. And it didn't change for 4 days. Now, I'm sorry, guys, but I didn't know a couple of 70-odd-year-old men could maintain an election for 4 days. I'm sorry, if you have an election going on for more than 24 hours, something's wrong. You need to consult your doctor. You need to consult an expert. Because, what are you doing, Jen? Jenny is attacking the camp. Is there a problem?
It's alright, they were just saying that your chin kept disappearing off the bottom.
Oh, I did. We set up this properly. I thought it was fine. I won't stand too far back then. Is that the problem fine? Apparently I'm absolutely centered. So if I do this, it gets really, really annoying for people. But I tell you, I'm not joking. Consult your physician if your election goes on for 24 hours or more. You need help. My goodness. But the best part is, throughout all of this process, Donald Trump has been having a meltdown, and it is live on Twitter, and it is amazing to watch. It is so funny. I have been trolling the guy all week. It's like the day before the finale came, I had the Eiffel 65 song Blue in my head. So I asked him on Twitter, I've got this song Blue in my head. Do you have any idea why? He's been going nuts, and it's so funny. But you know, this isn't even the pinnacle of it. The best part is coming on his last day. Tell you right now, his last day in office, he is going to barricade himself into the Oval Office. He's going to hide under the Resolute desks that the the Secret Service can't possibly find him. That's what's going to happen. And when they do find him, I know how it's going to go down. Hello, Mr. Trump. I'm sorry, but it's time to go. No, I don't want to. But you have to, Mr. Trump. It's Mr. Biden's turn now. You've got to let him have a go. No, I don't want to. I want 5 more minutes. But that wouldn't be fair, Mr. Trump. You have to play fair. No, I don't want to. I want to stay. They are going to have to drag him out of that house, kicking and screaming. He's not going to go lightly. He is not going to go quietly into this good night, as the Americans would say. He'll be dragged out, kicking and screaming, and hopefully on live TV, because I need to see that. The world needs to see that. It'll be excellent reality television, and the crowning achievement of that orange idiot's career. Jennifer, how's it going? Have we got any comments yet?
Yes, they really liked the fact that I made you giggle, and of course as well, there's a few comments about the camera being pointed ever so slightly in the wrong direction, which meant your chin kept slipping out of view. You actually became a chinless wonder at one point, but we did get that fixed. But don't forget, everybody, at this little mid-session interval, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And, of course, the Cupboard Monkey is unfortunately here all week. You will catch up with her again tomorrow. But is there more of the routine?
Of course there's more of the routine.
Oh, right. That's that. Okay.
I just thought I'd ask you how it's going and if there are any comments that need to be read out while I have a drink. Talking to you is quite an experience.
No, there's no real questions, just looking at that. But anyway, on to the next part of the Cupboard Monkey in the Book Nook. And
get off the stage!
Yeah.
I tell you what, do not hire her and give her a microphone. She will not get off the stage. So, The other thing that came up in the news, and I think this was quite interesting, is NASA finally told us what they were going to announce, what they'd found. And it turns out they found water on the moon. So naturally, the first thing I asked was, does that mean we can drink the moon? And everyone went, no. But the other thing that happened, Twitter immediately, they decided that, oh, we're going to have to weigh in on this. Water on the moon? But we already know there's water on the moon. It's on the dark side of the moon, and that is the interesting part, because it's not actually dark. It's just called the dark side, but it's not actually dark. Did you know that? We knew that. We're very smart. So NASA had to go to them and say, yes, there is water on the dark side of the moon. And yes, we did know that it's not actually dark. We call it the dark side of the moon because we can't see it from Earth. And we told you that. You didn't know that until we told you. We told you, then you repeated it back to us. That's not proper knowledge. You're like the educational equivalent of a parrot. You're the educational equivalent of an echo. We knew that first. So Twitter was not happy. Because you've got to remember, the thing about Twitter is it's full of people who believe that having an opinion is the same thing as having some knowledge and experience. And Twitter amplifies that kind of person, because the one thing that's a big secret, and I know this, I'm going to share it with you, a big secret about Twitter is that it's an experiment. It's not there as a social media site, it's an experiment to see how loud and how obnoxious a person has to be before everyone goes, bugger this, and leaves them alone. And it turns out it's quite a lot, because there's a lot of people still on that website. So, we have found water on the moon, says NASA, and it's on the light side of the moon, the side that's facing us, the side that we can all see. Just look in the night sky, you'll see the moon, the light side of the moon. There's water on it. We didn't know there was water before, which made me think, but we've been looking at that for thousands of years. Does that mean that every scientist and astronomer for the last 12,000 years who's been looking at the moon wasn't paying attention? How did we not see this before? What are they all doing? All the people who've been studying the moon, what are they doing on a night? And I came up with this idea. This is what happened. Hello, Frank. What do you do for a living? I study the moon. Have you found anything new about the moon? No. It's a big rock. It fell off the Earth and now it just kind of hangs around. Why would there be anything new? So why are you studying it then? Well, it beats getting a proper job. That's what's been happening. Tell you, I've got no proof of it, but it's a true fact. And I know it's true because when I put it on Twitter, I got lots of retweets. And lots of retweets must mean it's real. That's how Twitter works. Excuse me while I have a quick drink there. Oh my goodness. But maybe it's not true. Maybe what's actually happening with the NASA scientists is they're not studying the moon. They're just watching to make sure it's still there. Because as we all know, all scientists are nerds. And all nerds have grown up watching the various adventures of serial superheroes and intergalactic warriors who defend the world from the villain of the week. And the villain of the week, to show how good they are and how powerful and how much of a threat, they go and they attack the moon and blow it up. So these scientists, they're doing us a service. They're doing us the best service. They're watching the moon to make sure it's still there. Because if it's still there, we're probably not getting invaded today, and they can rest easy. They can go home at night and just have a good night's rest while they're supposed to be studying the moon. That's how it works. That is it. I have no scientific data to follow that up. I can't back any of it up, but you know it's right. You know in your heart, you know. I think about stupid things like that a lot. You may have noticed. And I like to share my stupid thoughts with you, because if I didn't, well, I wouldn't have a routine. Let's put it that way. And then you'd all get bored. But the other thing that I've been thinking about lately that I want to share with you is a question. That's a question that has perplexed me for quite some time. Do people who take a DNA test worry because they didn't revise? I worry about this sort of thing. Now you can too. Now, you might say, what are you talking about? You can't possibly revise for a DNA test. How could you fail it? And you may be true. Maybe you're right. Maybe the answers were inside us all along. It's quite a possibility. But as a counter-argument, I submit all those photos and videos and nights out that you've ever seen on a Friday and Saturday night in any city centre in the UK. You know what I'm talking about. Those stumbling, slurred speech maniacs that only appear late at night. They go along and they stumble. They can't speak and stand upright at the same time. Are you telling me that those people could pass a DNA test? Because I am not so sure. I can see it now. The BBC is going to have some nature documentaries on this by the end of the next decade. I guarantee it. I can see the titles now. Walking with Hominids. Or maybe something a bit more dramatic, like The Land Where Time Gave Up. Because, I don't know about you and me, but if we were to meet Mother Nature and she was a person, she would take one look at some of those stumbling wretches and say to us, nope, I am not taking any credit for those things. You're on your own with them. I guarantee it. What am I talking about? Oh my goodness. Aliens walk amongst us. That's what we can take from this. In a moment, my dear. Jen's asking if I want questions. Let me get through this piece. Aliens walk amongst us. Well, stumble amongst us. Well, keel over drunk amongst us. And this got me to my other thing that I was thinking about lately. Why do all alien abductions happen in the middle of nowhere? And I worked it out. No, there are many, many theories about alien abductions and how these things happen and why they happen where they are. And I'll tell you this. I have studied all of these abductions. I've studied them in depth. The people, the places, the times. And I have come to a theory. I've come to a theory that is so amazing and so simple that when you hear it, you will be amazed. Because I found that any question at all in life, you can distill it down into the simplest possible explanation. Parking spaces. Now hear me out. If you ever go to a city centre at a busy time, let's say Christmas, but it could be any other busy time, you will find that it's very, very difficult to find a parking space. You can be sitting there for minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, trying to find a space. And that's just for one average-sized car. Imagine if you're flying a flying saucer and you're trying to find somewhere to park it in the middle of a city at any time, but a busy time would be even worse. How are you going to find 8, 10, 12 spaces all together in a block for your giant spaceship if the average person can't find a space for an average car? You can't. It just doesn't happen. So they go out to the middle of nowhere where there's some guy and he's just driving along in an empty road. It's far easier there. Simplicity. That's the answer. They can't park in cities, so they go out to where no one is. It's easier to park. And it also saves on parking fees. So yeah, simple. Absolutely simple. Jen, what are the questions? Don't grab the microphone. What are the questions?
Right, we've got a few questions. So first up, J94 asks, who are your favourite comedians, Zoe?
My favourite comedians? Oh, that is a good question. Now, when I was a kid, I used to absolutely adore Dave Allen. He was a traditional style of comedian. He would come along. Actually, no, he wasn't. He was more of an alternative, but he was an original traditional style alternative comedian. He would tell a funny story, and it would be hilarious. But he'd never push it too far, and he'd also occasionally do sketches. So he had a variety, and it was great. Good humour. The whole family could enjoy it. And then I found Billy Connolly. And oh my goodness, Billy Connolly is hilarious, but he pushes to the edge. But he always knew where the edge was until later on when he started doing silly things. But for the most part, he was great at it. And then I found on the internet Steve Hofstetter. Steve Hofstetter is a brilliant comedian who does a lot of clips on YouTube and puts down hecklers. And he is the inspiration for me to just actually get out there and do this, because it was his advice to just go for it. And the idea that you'll suck and it'll be hard and you'll hate it and then you'll get better and you'll love it. That was him. That's why I'm here. Jen?
Right, we've also got North End Sidings Model Railway. How much do you like Sonic the Hedgehog?
Ah, someone's seen my top. I'm a big fan of Sonic the Hedgehog. Anyone that's bright blue and rushes around and can smash through walls, yeah, I don't see a problem with that. Sonic was the reason that I liked the Mega Drive and got away from PCs into console gaming.
And final question, Esme would like to know if you are familiar with that little ditty, Star Trekking.
Star Trekking across the universe, always going forward because we can't find reverse. That one? Yes, I am familiar with it. Yes, we'll take that as a yes.
So, are you back to the material? Are we going back to the material, or are you just going to stand there slurping your Coke?
I just needed talking in here in front of the lights in a very dry environment, dries you out. So I keep going for a quick drink. But this is the thing. I want to talk to you about my friend John, and I'm going to call him John because that's his name. So hi John, if you're listening, you deserve this. We all have that friend, or at least someone we know. We can't always call him a friend, who, no matter what you're saying, will come out with the worst case scenario. Doesn't matter what you're doing. I think I'm going to go to the shops today. John would say, be careful you don't get run over. It's down the street. I don't even have to cross the street. But be careful, because a car might mount the pavement and come for you. Worst case scenario, John's always there. We all have that one person. If you don't have that one person, think harder, you do. So, we have a guy, and it's their function in life to make you realize that whatever good thing you've got, it could go wrong. So I was talking to John about my phone and how I basically use my telephone as my office. So his response was, but what if someone gets it? What if you lose your phone or someone steals it? What are you going to do then? What if they get into it? Well, they can't. They can't, John, because if they could, it's password protected. But what if they do? What if they break the password? And they get into all your files? What will you do? They're backed up. I've got backups of them at home. Don't worry about it. It's fine. But what if they get in there and they delete all your... What if they break your password and they get into your phone and they delete all your stuff? Then I'll put it back. It's not an issue. But what if they break in and they delete everything and you find out all your backups are gone? I've got other backups. It's not going to be a problem. But what if they're all gone? How will you cope when you lose all of your stuff? I'm sorry, but John, what do you think is on my phone? Look at me. I am a 40-year-old married queer comedian wearing a 25-year-old cardigan that has massive holes in it. What do you think is on my phone? Do you think I've got state secrets on there? Do you think that I have the cure for cancer saved in my notes app? It's not a big deal. If I lose my phone or all the data, I will get the cat photos off my CD backups and I'll put them back on and I'll write some more jokes. The only thing on my phone is cat photos, jokes, and the occasional shopping list. I am not an important person. I do not carry massive amounts of data on my phone. I was just asking. I was just saying. That is the response you get. I was just saying. I was just saying the absolute worst thing that could possibly be thought of, just to see what your reaction was. That's a John for you. And we all know a John. That's how the world works.
I'm just saying, and if you don't know who the John in your life is, then chances are it's you.
To an extent, yes. That's the old joke. Every family has a crazy person, and if your family doesn't, yeah, it does. Look in the mirror. Now, I want to continue now by talking about something that is very dear to my heart. Context. Context matters. Now, if you go on the internet, you'll find a lot of people don't understand the concept of context. So you can say something, and unless you know why it's being said and what it's about, you can get completely the wrong end of the stick. And some of you out there are thinking, no, that's not possible. I'm a very smart person. I know what everyone means just by hearing them. I'm going to give you an example. Here's the thing. A couple of weeks ago, I met a friend, and she had a new head. And it was a very nice head. It looked really good. But it didn't match her skin. So we spent the entire day that day going around hunting for some skin to match her new head. And in the end, we got a nice skin for her, and she put it on and put on a new head. And she looked amazing, and it was great. It was a wonderful day. We had a thoroughly good time hunting for this stuff. I told this to a colleague when I was working at the council, and they looked at me horrified. And they started to shake. And then they started to back away. Because I hadn't told them, and I thought it was obvious from my perspective, I had the context. I thought they understood that I was talking about an online computer game. They thought I'd just admitted to conspiracy to murder. They thought I was a serial killer. Context matters. Because it turns out that the language of online gamers is very similar to the language of serial killers. If you don't understand that on an online game, you can often find a new color or a new uniform or a new complete body that will differentiate you from everyone else. And they call them skins. Skins, heads, body parts, that kind of thing. If you don't know that, and if you don't know that I'm talking about an online game, it sounds an awful lot like I ran around the city with a knife hunting for human flesh. I didn't do that. Context matters. Another thing, and it's hard to go into this, but how we present ourselves is important. Like, for example, presenting myself to this person who is now thoroughly terrified of me and always gives me funny looks when I go to work. How you present yourself to others is important. So, as an example of that, why, when we know someone is coming to our house, do we do our utmost to make sure our house looks nothing like it normally would before they arrive? Do you think that we're fooling anyone at all with this charade that we do? Do you think that when you go into someone's house and it smells like Clorox and new paint, that they live in that kind of environment? We can spend days, when we know that someone's coming around, preparing by tidying, cleaning, painting, hoovering, you know what. And then when they come through the door, you'll say, sorry about the mess. Does anyone think that we are fooling anyone? Why don't we just be honest? Why don't we say honest things like, hi Mum, hi Dad, I'm sorry, I forgot you were coming. That's why you can't see the floor for pizza boxes, and I'm wearing what appears to be a toga made out of a bedsheet that I've grabbed in a rush. Yeah, I know. I've kept you too long already, so thanks for coming, I'll see you later. Why can't we just be honest? Honesty is the best policy. Alright guys, thank you so much. That is the routine. I hope you've enjoyed it. Jen, would you like to come in and bring your phone? Have we got any questions for a Q&A?
I'm afraid that there's no questions, but don't forget to give it up and a big hand for Zoe Kirk-Robinson here, aka the Cupboard Monkey, down in the Book Nook in the Book Room Comedy Club. And I can tell it's been quite stressful, but I think she's done a great job. We've certainly had a great response. We've had a sustained audience all the way through. A lot of comments going on in the chat room, so it's been a great a turnout. And thank you ever so much, guys, all of you who shared the stream, tickled that like button.
She just nicks the microphone off me. She goes into host mode. I'd like to say thank you so much for coming on. I do love these streams with you. I get so nervous before I come on, I tell you.
She does.
The way I've always seen it is when I did work at for the drama festival at school and things like that. Even up to right now, when I went to council meetings to speak and all that, always get stage fright. It's so nervous, it's so nerve wracking, but you feel great when you do it because this is the best job I've ever had, I have to say. And what I want to say is thank you so much for coming along. If you'll press the like button, that's great. And if you're in a position to do so, if you could support us by visiting patreon.com/Zoe Kirk-Robinson, it's how we keep the lights on. Much appreciated. But don't worry if you can't. Share the stream with other people. That helps an awful lot too, because it helps YouTube to realize we're here.
Yeah, it helps YouTube to go. Oh, Zoe Kirk-Robinson. Do we have an account with that person? Oh, my word. Huh.
Basically, yeah, the algorithm needs to be working up. But thank you again, and I hope to see you next week for more. I'm doing the topical humor, trying to keep it fresh, so it's always something new for you. Thanks very much, and we'll see you next time.
Okay, give it a big hand there for Zoe Kirk-Robinson here at the Book Nook Book Room Comedy Club. But don't forget as well, we've got our regular service over on the Jenny Kirk channel tomorrow. We've got the Monday Club, all are welcome. And of course, we'll be having the repeat performance of the Cupboard Monkey being a nuisance as she normally is. It'd be great to have her there. And it'd be great to see you all too. So without further ado, this is me, Jenny Kirk, saying it's been great to have you tonight. You take great care of yourself. Bye for now. Are we off?
Are we off?